Week 9 power rankings. Here we go. Okay, starting off with the bottom, the Carolina Panthers. Is there any question about it? Welcome back. Short-lived run, not being at the bottom of the league, but playing the Panthers every week is just guaranteed to win by 20 points. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans, 31st. They played the Lions. They honestly didn't look that bad in the first quarter. Mason Rudolph looks a whole lot better than Will Levis. And Calvin Ridley had like 100 receiving yards in the first quarter, but holy shit, I've never seen a team that so visibly had awful special teams. The Lions had 260 special teams yards. That is insane. The Tennessee Titans are terrible. Moving on to 30th, we have the New Orleans Saints. Look, the Saints without Derek Carr and the rest of half of their team are pretty bad. They're pretty bad. They might be in the running for worse than the league, but they do have a few good wins under their belt when they were healthy. So 29th, the New England Patriots. Jacoby Brissett and the power of friendship got the win against the New York Jets. Kudos to them. They're still bad. Same thing with the Cleveland Browns. They seem to always get one win against the Baltimore Ravens, and Jameis Winston sure did that last week. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, but again, you're still bad. Move them up a little bit. 27th, the Las Vegas Raiders. Not a lot of movement here either. They are also bad. 26th, the New York Giants. What was that, man? They were in the game for so long, and that final drive against the Steelers, that was just awful, man. Who is Daniel Jones throwing to? 25th, the New York Jets. Do I need to say anything else? This is the most disappointing team this season. Aaron Rodgers is supposed to turn this whole franchise around. Instead, we are seeing the same thing we saw before. The Jets are awful, despite having a stacked roster. It really doesn't make any sense. Moving on to 24th, I have the Jaguars. Maybe a little bit high, honestly, but hey, they put up a great fight against the good Packers team. This offense is slowly coming around. Trevor Lawrence is slowly coming around. I'm liking the Jaguars. I think they might trend up a little bit. 23rd, another team that will be trending up a little bit is the Miami Dolphins. I know they lost against the Cardinals last week at home, but look, this team they're already way better than they were without Tua. Let's be honest. They scored 27 points. That's way more than they scored without Tua. So 23rd, they're still bad. 22nd, the Cincinnati Bengals. This team just doesn't know if it wants to be good or not. One week they look like, their Bengals are up and coming, man. They're going to make the playoffs, and then they get fucking smoked by the Philadelphia Eagles at home. But maybe the Eagles are just coming around, but damn, the Bengals are so disappointing. 21st, Indianapolis Colts. They are moving on from Anthony Richardson temporarily this season and moving on to Joe Flacco, the GOAT. They're like a below average team. I don't know what to say. 20th, the Dallas Cowboys. Look, they also lost again, this time in not such an embarrassing fashion. They had a chance to win it. They actually came back. They were looking kind of clutch for a little bit, but then, it's the Cowboys this season. Dak Prescott did his thing, whatever. 20th, they're not good. 19th, the Seattle Seahawks. I already know people are going to be coming after me for having them this low. They just got smacked by the Bills at home. This is another team that can't decide if they want to be really good or terrible. They have a great win on the road against the Atlanta Falcons, but then they lose to the fucking Giants, and then they get blown out by the Buffalo Bills. Who knows if the team is good? I really can't tell you. 18th, the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, they got the win, but yeah, they almost blew it. Again, this 49ers team just does not look the same. 17th, the Los Angeles Rams. A lot of you are probably thinking this is really high, and it is, but I do think the Rams are going to be trending upwards. I think they are going to do the same thing that they did last season. They started off 3-6 last year, and they made the playoffs. I think they will... Woo! Damn. I think they're trending in the right direction. Great win against the Minnesota Vikings, who I still think are a really good team. That's why I moved the Rams up so much. 16th, the Arizona Cardinals, a team that I had high, and people were down on me for it. They're like, what are you doing putting the Cardinals so high? And look, they're 16th. They're not that high, okay? They're 16th. They've strung together a couple good wins on the road against the Miami Dolphins with Tua. So that's a little bit better win. And then the win at home against the Chargers, which wasn't pretty, but hey, it's a win. 16th is fair. They're mid. They're a mid team. Same thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who started off the season fantastically. And then against the Baltimore Ravens, they got pummeled and lost their 2 starting wide receivers. And with that, they've suffered a little bit. They dropped 2 games to the Atlanta Falcons, division rival, who they're going to be competing with for the NFC South. So maybe the Falcons are just guaranteed to win that now, but I don't know. They got killed by the Seahawks at home, so who knows? 14th, the Chicago Bears. Tyreek Stevenson, dude. What the fuck are you doing? That's your fault. Karma is a bitch. 14th, it's fair for the Bears. I still think they're a good, decent team. Moving on. 13th, the Denver Broncos. I can't lie. I thought the Broncos would be the worst team in the league coming into the season. They have proven me wrong. I think they already have 2 more wins than I predicted them to end with this season. The Broncos, they look pretty good. They look pretty good. 13th. 12th, the Los Angeles Chargers. They don't look like they should be 12, but they're winning games, man. I mean, I know they beat the shit out of the Saints, but They did get that win against Denver on the road. They can compete with teams like the Steelers. I think they're a solid team. Same thing with the Atlanta Falcons. You know, they try to prove me wrong each week that I put a little faith in them. So, you know, next week they'll probably get their ass kicked. Moving on to my top 10, though. The Philadelphia Eagles, are they back? 2 great wins back-to-back weeks. Now, it's the Giants and the Bengals, but I thought the Bengals were up and coming. And they beat them by 20 on the road. Saquon Barkley looks fantastic. The Eagles are really coming around, man. I think so. I know the Falcons beat them on the road. That was week 2. I still think the Eagles are better than the Falcons. Yes, they're a top 10 team. 9th, the Washington Commanders. Jayden Daniels, man. Jayden Daniels. He's him. He's him. I don't think there's any other way to put it other than he's him. Washington Commanders, what the fuck is this season? Who would have thought the Washington Commanders would be having this magical season that they are? Moving on to 8th, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They handled business against the New York Giants this week. Not much else to say there. They are still a very good team. That defense is kind of scary, man. 7th, the Buffalo Bills beat the shit out of the Seattle Seahawks on the road. They're a good team. I know a lot of people are hating on them a little bit, but look, let's be honest here. It's the Bills. They already pretty much won the AFC East. They're going to be good. They're going to be good. Same with the Baltimore Ravens at 6th. I know they lost to the Browns. It happens every year. It happens every year. It happened last year. They were the 1 seed in the AFC. I'm not freaking out. 6th is fine. 5th, Houston Texans. I mean, they are a good team. They are losing Stephon Diggs. They got Nico Collins out, so we'll see what happens to them next week. But so far, I do think this Texans team can sneak into the 5 spot. 4th, the Green Bay Packers. This team looks phenomenal. Had an iffy win against the Jaguars, but again, I think the Jags are just trending in the right direction. They had plenty of good games against teams such as the Houston Texans. They had a close one with the Minnesota Vikings, close one with the Eagles, and then they killed the Cardinals. Like, the Packers are a good team. Same thing with the Vikings. 3rd. I know they started off 5-0. They're 5-2 now. They lost to the Rams on the road with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, and they barely lost to the Detroit Lions at home. I'm not panicking yet. Having 2 losses at this point is a totally normal thing to have. Like, they're not falling apart quite yet. 2nd, the Detroit Lions. I gotta be proud of my boys. This is the highest I've ever ranked the Lions in my power rankings. And Jared Goff didn't even throw for over 100 yards. We won that game with defense, with special teams, and with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. First, though, is the Kansas City Chiefs. No matter how ass they play, they are gonna win games. They're winning the most games. They're consistently winning games, so there's no reason they shouldn't be number 1. And those were my Week 9 NFL power rankings. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments below. I would always like to hear your opinions. And if you're not, please subscribe. Please like the video. It'll help me out a ton. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care.